Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Welcome to Local Yokelz.
Let's fucking go.
Zoom always lets you know. They never let you forget that they have access to these audio files.
Yeah, they're not going to want access to this. No one cares.
Yeah, that's what I always think every time I record. I'm like, nobody's looking at these like ripe for the picking. Like,
yeah, who on Zoom is like just going through audio files left and right?
There's some juicy shit in some of these, but you really have to sift through a lot of mud.
I listened to the horror movie review that you did with David, a gentleman named David.
Yeah, man. Fitz.
Was that Fitz?
Yeah, that's me and Fitz, dude.
I was thinking in the shower earlier today because it did not sound like Fitz, and at no point did you refer to him as Fitz, and so I thought that because his voice has changed so much that I was like, oh, this must be some fat old white guy that Jared met working at a cafe. But it would be so cool if he got Fitz on the fucking podcast. And I'm so happy that that actually is Fitz. Fitz, if you're listening to this, I love you, bud. Oh man, I hope that's reoccurring. I hope you guys keep doing that.
Yeah, dude, 100. It's been really great. Me and him actually, I think we're now like 5 episodes deep into a podcast that we're doing, and it's just all horror movies. We talk about sometimes you get off on tangents like always, but for the most part, we just like pick a horror movie, watch it every week, and talk shit about it on Sunday.
That's so fucking good. I think another piece of good content would be like his life for the last 5 years, 10 years. I know a lot of us really want to know. I don't want to pry or make him talk about shit he doesn't want to talk about, especially if he doesn't want to talk about it. But I miss the fuck out of that guy.
Dude,
I want to know how he's doing. I want to know how he's been.
Absolutely, man. And that's actually, I feel like at least this may give him an avenue to get more out there, because that's the thing, man. Yeah. When we were younger, Fitz was like the dude was all energy and all. He's
the ringleader of energy.
Go. He was, man, and it was I don't know. It's been great, so great catching up with him and just spending, even if it's just over fucking Zoom, it feels so great spending some sort of time with him, because he's still it's just immediately the first time we started connecting, it's just right back with that same energy. The dude's just he's a perpetual motion machine.
Honestly, he really is. The other aspect of this is how come you don't post video on the YouTube? How come I just have to listen to it? Why can't I watch it?
That's a good question. How do I make it say it without?
I listened to that Nick
lazy.
and Dusty episode. I listened to that Nick and Dusty episode, and I was just I know their faces. I know what they look like. I know what they sound like. So I'm picturing them. Yeah. But God damn, I want to see Hot Othel. Just in his fucking epic man cave full of all those synths and shit.
That's fair, man. I really got to get on that. I have the means to do it.
Sure,
it's
but
just,
time.
It's just time, and I finally have right now I have my audio recording gear set up. But
yeah, sounds great.
Now it is time to just start. I've been thinking to sort of do a little bit. I don't really want to focus on video content. You know what I mean? It's just never been my game, but it would be nice to at least do snippets of video content, because every time, dude, this I get a video file from this, so it's literally it's literally just I'm a one-man fucking thing over here. I don't know,
I know, I get it.
Fitting it in between everything is so tiresome sometimes, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just sort of You know,
I
you get fucking beat sometimes, man.
I understand. I'm that way with creativity, period, because my life is just like so much right now that there's no point in even trying to sit down and put forth effort into doing something creative just because I'm gonna get torn away from it in 20 fucking minutes.
Yeah, it's hard, and it honestly is like, it's a weird cycle because it just like, it constantly deflates your like creative energy, you know, like you're like, you get like, you fill up your little creative balloon, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna sit down and like work on this, and then like you said, like 20 minutes later, then you're like, all right, life's calling, I have to fucking go deal with some shit, like, you know.
Yep.
And you know, enough of that, and you're just sort of like, all right, I'm gonna just like wait till I have 5 weeks of my own time, which is ideal, but never seems to happen.
Never. Fucking never. Absolutely never. Fucking never.
Nope.
No, it's one hole to the next hole. Like when we were kids, we had all this time, and I don't think it's, what is it? Youth is wasted on the young, right? Like you don't have, you longboard all day. You eat mushrooms and you go longboard for 6 hours. That's your fucking day.
Yeah.
But like when you're an adult, if you even have the time, like I don't have the time to eat mushrooms.
God,
I would love to, but I can't just piss away 6 hours. Like maybe on a Saturday morning at 4 a.m.
You look at it as like a commitment. You're like, oh man, like I need to think about like the next day also.
Yep. What mental state am I gonna be in?
You know, like
all this stupid shit.
Yeah, I mean that's why the name All Gas No Brakes it applies.
Dude,
in so
Andrew
many
got
great
that
ways.
name ripped from him.
I saw that. That's such a devastating thing.
I know. I'm so happy it wasn't Tim and Eric.
That's
that
all
was
youth energy, man. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and he has a new channel out too, Channel 5 News. So if you want to keep watching his content, Channel 5 News. Andrew, I don't know his last name, but
shit, dude.
fucking
yeah.
That shit's amazing.
Like legitimately, like that cat is. It's been wild, like kind of just like following his sort of story. Although, like, you know, if you follow him on like things like social media or whatever, like he'll post the most bizarre like series of stuff. So you'll see like him at like with a press badge at like a conference, and then then he'll jump to like the next thing on his like Instagram story or something will be like him and a homie with like a bottle, like a fucking whipped cream charger and like a bunch of fucking whippets lying around. And then the next thing is like him at some sort of like seedy club in New Orleans or something like that. Like that's the fucking crazy thing about that dude. Like he can blend.
He just goes.
He fits in everywhere he goes.
Well, it's like genuine. Like he has this demeanor that's literally just interested. I'm interested in who you are, and I'm not being judgmental. So give me everything. Like give it all, and then he just turns that into content so fucking quickly.
So well.
Extremely well.
Yeah.
It's I don't think I don't know if anybody said this on the cast, but congrats on you and Dean.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. That's still like, it's such a wild thing to think about. Like nothing is, it's like weird because nothing has really changed.
It won't,
but
yet.
We every now and then, like one of our like folks will ask us like, so are you guys what are you guys planning?
So when's the date? Give me a date, come on.
And all I ever have to tell people is we're basically we're not going to get married until I'm done with school so I can get the most school money I need.
Yeah.
It's all financially motivated. It's 2021, motherfucker.
Playing that system.
But I mean, it'll be cool. Although I don't know if I told you this, we are actually planning a Halloween wedding.
Hey,
so, yeah, I'm gonna force everybody to dress up for the occasion and do the whole thing. I think
that's such a good idea.
I think it'd just be really fun, and that way it'd be like a really fun, just like time for everybody.
That's such a good. My next Halloween costume idea is Sergeant Hatred from the Venture Brothers. I fucking love that character so much.
That'd be so sick.
But I don't know. Maybe I'll do something special for that. I mean, not this year, next year, or it's when you're done with school.
It'll probably be next year.
Yeah.
Which is also cool because honestly, in my head, there's really no rush on it, and at the same time, it's like that gives us more than enough time to like set aside whatever we need for whatever. And like really plan it out, because I'd rather like plan it out and make it a good night, not just for us, but for like the people we want to involve in it.
Yeah,
and
fucking party.
Exactly. Exactly.
I just went
we'll get
to-
married and shit, and then we'll fucking party.
Fucking party. I went to my sister just got married, and
wow.
I know it's crazy. She met a girl online in Australia or New Zealand. I did not say Australia. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
New Zealand for sure. And they struck up a conversation and ended up falling in love, and that like 4 years ago.
That's wild. That's
And
awesome.
yeah, she's been to the States like 2 or 3 times, and they're doing a 90-day fiance visa, which is a real fucking thing, I guess. I didn't know that.
Well, howdy.
So they had 90 days to get married, and they chose to do it in the middle of Pride Month, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And we had the reception at our house, my parents' house, and it was a fucking rager. Karaoke machine, little dance floor. We had a pool. I mean, well, they have a pool here, but like, pool party was going. Everybody was drinking. I was firing up spliffs left and right. It was a fucking party.
Hell yeah, man. That's exactly it. That's like, I just want like a good fucking night, you know, like a classic, like good party night where everybody's just, you know, the music's loud, the fucking pool's open, and everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, classic estate night.
Did that's what the only thing the estate ever was missing was some sort of like water that, like, you know.
I know. I mean, even a sprinkler would have been nice, but I don't even know if they had that.
That lawn died like a motherfucker in the summer.
Every year. It'd be dead now, man. We reach what, 98, 99 today? You guys are sitting in the 90s too, I think.
Yeah. We hit like in the 90s yesterday, but this weekend they're forecasting like 100 over here.
108 for us.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That shit's wild, man. It's like all of a sudden
go
just
outside.
like the sun's swinging at us, man. It's just fucking.
Yeah, people were talking about, oh yeah, it's been the last few years. And I'm like, bruh, I was not sweating my dick off before July last year. It's not even July. August is the death month. I don't understand what we're doing. We're fucking with shit in June, but here we are, man.
That's what I mean. It's like, I feel like it's just
summer started
way
2 days ago.
fast.
It is hitting way too. Yeah, summer came out swinging.
Dude, it's fucking crazy.
Summer came out Conor McGregor this year.
So, speaking of New Zealand earlier, have you heard from Jesse at all?
I mean, bits and pieces.
Have you kept up with them?
Crushing. Oh yeah, I mean, we talk. I've talked on the phone with him a few times. His mom is able to come back home soon, if not already. I can't remember when that last update was. His mom's been stuck there since the beginning of COVID last year.
Yeah.
She just went to go visit him, and she's been there ever since. But he's got his band,
Skull Patrol.
the Skull Patrol. Thank you for reminding me of that. I couldn't remember. They are a female-fronted, like, thrash punk band, and he's just living it the fuck up, man. He's living everybody else in our band's dream.
I'm so, like, it just, if I've, like, in a good way, like, I'm really happy
He's the nicest.
that he's having a fucking great time. But I always look at it, like, I see like posts from him and stuff like that are like, you know, like shows, and then it'll be like, you know, a clip from like a set or something, and I'm just like, god damn, dude, like,
room full of packed people. I mean, a room packed full of people.
it looks so appealing.
His mom's in the audience. Circle pits. Nobody's wearing a mask. Everybody's moshing and having a fun time. Like, not only does it look appealing, it looks like nostalgic and heartbreaking.
Absolutely, man.
It's so, like, Apple Blossom here. We have a spring festival, for those of you who don't know, called Apple Blossom. And they let it return this year, and they just did it last week or 2 weeks ago now. And my girlfriend and I went to the food court like every fucking night just to be in a crowd of people again.
Yeah.
And they had live music. I mean, it was old white people music, but I mean, it was live music. It was a live band, so it was something to do. But
what was that one band, like it was like the
40 pounds of porn.
No, it was like the 40 pounds of porn. Holy fuck. No, it was
Michael
like,
Carlos band?
Michael Carlos. Yeah, I was like, what did Michael Carlos play?
Yeah.
Again, like, I guess I don't know the guy like that well anymore or whatever, but like,
dude,
that dude was just like always like, if there was an open bill, that dude was on it for some fucking reason. I remember he played a show. He did a set like with us at Wally's once, like before. I can't remember. I think it was probably before, but I was just like, I was so fucking surprised by that. I was like, why are you here? Like, why? Like,
I don't, like, okay, how cool of a motherfucker are you to be gigging all the time. You don't, I mean, every other week in the summer, or every weekend in the summer, probably every other week in the winter at bars, but definitely every week outside somewhere in a small ass rural fucking town with nobody. If I'm trying to do something with music, like a shallow piece of shit to make money, I'm going to do that in a big city. But here we had the musical stylings of Michael Carlos literally just doing it to get pussy. And he did.
That's what I was saying. I was just about to say, I was like, that dude did it for fucking pussy. And you know it.
All the way. All the way.
He was banging the moms that were jamming fucking Chuck Mangione.
And their daughters too, man. And their daughters, just to make the moms jealous. I promise. That guy's so fucking weird. Dude, I haven't heard shit from him since I moved back to town.
Like I said, I'm glad I only knew him like on a very casual level back in the day, and like I
so
don't,
superficial,
to like interact with the individual, but and you know, not like, I don't know, I'm not trying to like talk shit about him, but I was just like, I just, you know, he was just like, it was just so funny to me, like how often you would just see his name on a fucking bill, and you just be like, and you would just immediately kill a buzz of like the whole bill. Like you're just like, all right, and Michael Carlos band playing, and it's like the Michael Carlos band, which is just Michael Carlos most of the time.
It's literally, it'd be like Mothra, Syria, Starving Eyes, Michael Carlos. Or it'd be fucking Forgotten Manners, J. Schmetter El Capitan, Michael Carlos. He was at all the wrongs. 427, Michael Carlos.
I guarantee you at some point that dude played at the Volcano Club.
Ooh, to so many horny Mexican people. Oh man, didn't we play the Volcano Room?
Yeah, dude, like a couple of times, man.
We played the downstairs and the upstairs too.
Yeah, the Waldos, the Technicolor Waldos did. That was like, that was like, there was like a film, I think it was probably Jim Vines. It was Troy's dad. That was at the community center. Well, no, he filmed a night of us, the Waldos at that club. I don't know whatever happened to that footage. I've only seen it maybe like once, but yeah, because I distinctly remember, like at one point, it was at least. It was like you and maybe Jasper like sitting on me at one point during a set. But it was that
Daredevil. It was the end of Daredevil. We were upstairs in the ballroom. You lay down on the ground because you were fucking huffing and puffing, and Jasper and I are doing the dueling guitar leads that outro the song. And so I sit on your junk, like missionary style, and I have my guitar up in the air, and then Jasper comes and sits on your face and has his guitar up. And literally, we've got like 100 people around us in a tight circle, and they're all watching us do. We did a lot of fun shit. Like,
they were all. We
did a lot. Dude. We had a group hug one time at the Press Room Theater. That was fun.
Well, the Waldos, like, we all got really animated on stage.
That was, you know what I mean?
Like that was one of the main points. That was one of the reasons why, like, you know, we joked about having the gimmick, but it was like also really a fucking fun visual, just seeing us all in like solid, like
five dickheads all in
solid colors, looking like they're fucking outcasts from a Power Rangers audition. Like,
not even like, I mean, you would be purple, or I mean, I would be yellow, but my shirt would be a different yellow than my pants, which would be a different yellow than my shoe. Like, it was painful to look at too. There was so much dissonance going on.
There is coordination in the idea, but then none in the execution.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever listened to bands like The Locust. Like, there are noise bands that we personify in the way that we looked during that time without ever being as bad as any of those shitty bands.
Hell yeah, man. And back with the Waldos, it's like you were the yellow Waldo, I was the red Waldo.
Red, Jasper was blue.
Jasper's blue, Rex was
purple.
I want to say purple. And
because Caleb was green. And when Troy, he was white.
Yeah, when Hollywood Vines came back, he was the white Waldo. The great white Waldo.
The great white Waldo.
Oh my god, dude.
I'm fucking that baby boy.
That fucking shit, dude. I was actually just recently talking to McGrady, and like we were talking about drumming, and he's wanting to get into it. And he asked me, like, any advice on drumming, and I was just like immediately in my head I was like, you just asked the wrong person.
You have a few other friends that play drums, my guy.
Yeah. And then we just got on the subject of Troy for a second, and just how like incredible of a fucking drummer that dude was. Like, I don't know if he's kept, I really don't know if he's kept up on
he has
playing
kids now, and
exactly
the whole Mantar thing.
Dude's
I don't know.
Dude's had a hell of a ride so far.
Yeah, he really has.
And you know, he's
mom, brother.
I'm really, you know, I'm glad that he's got his, you know, he's got a family for himself that he can kind of like turn to. So
yep, have a support system.
Yeah, pour all of his love into, I guess, you know, because that dude's got a huge heart. But anyway, he's just like a fucking phenomenal drummer, and I really hope
he's a metronome
up on it. And like, yeah, dude, I mean, like,
he got 100% on his drum final.
Yeah, which was
when
like,
he went to college.
Which was only like, he was one of like a few people to have ever done that, apparently. Like,
the video should still be on YouTube. Actually, it used to be on YouTube.
Yeah, that shit's just impeccable. But he, like, I don't know, throughout like various projects was just like the backbone of certain things. Like, he was the original drummer for J Schmatter El Capitan. He was the
in DFR. No, Josh Steele was in DFR, right?
For a while. No, Troy replaced him. That's right. That's how the connections eventually happened. It was all through Troy. What it was? Like, because Troy started playing with the Dix brothers and Rex, and yeah, good memory, man.
It's been a while, but I just remember Calvin and Troy 100% playing together for at least a little bit.
Yeah. Well, because Calvin really started popping off with like certain. I mean, he was really versed in like. I hesitate to say classic rock kind of guitar, but like I don't know what. Yeah. And so he started. I mean, not first, but he started getting pretty proficient at that and like really like popping off there, and like that's why him and Troy, I think, jammed so well together at times. But
they both understood music.
Yeah, but then like, you know, Troy was also the off and on drummer for our project, the Technicolored Waldos.
Fuck yeah.
Which was always I just remember that it was like kind of like, no offense to Rex. Rex is like a talented.
Rex is a powerhouse.
Rex, you can pick up the bass, the drums, the fucking guitar. He can pick up anything and just be like
scary good at everything. And he commands too. Like, when he's playing an instrument, you're following him no matter what, because he knows nobody else is going to take lead. So here we go.
So here we are.
Yeah. And on the drums, it's so intense because he just leads. Like, whether the guitars hit the right note, or not right notes, but like hit the right timings or hit the right cuts, he's playing what you guys practice, and you better get to it because he's not going to stop doing it. He's a very good drummer.
I guess in a way it forces you to like, you know, keep up with them, and that does sort of like, you know, I guess it does bring a nice drive. But
Jasper and Rex taught me something during the Waldos before we segue into what we're going into. But I learned from that band, from Rex and Jasper specifically, if you can do it once, you can do it every time afterwards perfect. And I've tried to keep that sentiment in my life. And so far, as long as I point those things towards like procrastination, I'm fucking perfect every time. Every fucking time. So good at it.
Yeah, the Waldos was like, I mean, it was a high energy fucking band, man. Like, we were
for how much weed we smoked and for how much like alcohol we drank, we were that was one of my more out of control bands I've been in for sure. Minus nobody in this band did cocaine. I've been in bands with people who only do cocaine and alcohol.
Fair and
enough,
that's just,
that turns into a fucking black hole.
Yeah, that's a hell of a scene.
Fun for a minute.
It's fun until it starts. It just turns, man. It
devolves. It devolves real quick. Yeah. Like, let's get another 8-ball real quick, or else I'm gonna get real upset.
I'm about to get real upset. Oh my god. Yeah, dude. But I mean, yeah, some of my favorite show memories are definitely with the Waldos for sure, man. Like,
I mean, my worst is with but / favorite is with Simon for sure. Playing to empty rooms, like playing to no one.
Yeah.
But like the Waldos was the first time outside of Jay Schmouder and the Minuet, I feel like, because we could get a draw and had some pretty big shows. I remember the community center specifically being a really big draw. But there was a time where the Waldos, every show we played, there was a crowd. And I mean, I'm not going to say we did that, because we would play with awesome bands. We were playing with Mothra. We were playing with Forgotten Manners. We were playing with Poor Folks Live Well. We were playing with very good local bands.
Yeah, but we actually held their attention. We had actually held the people's attention, which was what was really like I think it was a huge drive for the band in general, was because it was like, damn, dude, people are like interested in watching us like fucking freak out. You know, freak out, man. Yep. And that's kind of it. It was like there's motion from like the get-go of our set, you know.
100%. We did not stop. Even before, we'd ring out, and then the second Rex did his thing. I remember we were playing. It's probably the show that fucking Jim Vines recorded, because it's in the ballroom, and I'm wearing moccasins, and it's a tile floor. Yeah. And I've got a Telecaster, and Jasper and I are holding our instruments up in the air, ringing out. And then right as the first note of the first song hits, we both come down. I came down too hard. My feet slipped out from under me. My guitar and face hit the ground at the same time. And I just popped back up. Yep. Kept playing, went back to rocking. But like,
can't miss it, man. Rex ain't stopping.
Rex ain't stopping. I better keep up. Shit, I'm late.
Shit, I'm late. Yeah, man. Like it was just like good
high energy. High fucking energy.
But you know, like I mean, did you do it? I can't. My memory's hazy.
You're good.
Any projects in between the Waldos and Simon the Leper, with the next band that you and I
actually? Because what happened? It wasn't just you and I. We split off at the tail end of the Waldos and we cut an album with Greg Shapovalov that we wrote in Troy's garage, which was an amazing experience. And
that's why I wanted it.
So thankful for that album still to this day. Diana and I, my girlfriend and I went through it recently, just because because she had heard, I showed her Simon the Leper from me singing, and I was like, no, you got to hear Jared, because I showed her a friend, and she was really into a friend. She liked the lyrics a lot because I just showed her Listener. And so I showed her Listener. I was like, oh yeah, no, you should I was in a project, you know. And then I showed her that shit. She loved it. So I was like, oh, you should listen to the first Simon record. Yeah. And God, I personally adore that. I'm thankful that record came out, and that we were blessed with the opportunity to make it, because now where I'm at, 15 years later, 12 years later, however old we were, I know that's a really fortunate position to be in.
Absolutely,
that is not a normal thing or a common thing. It's very fortunate.
No, I agree. I have one copy of that album, and it's stuck on an old iPhone that I've always used as an iPod.
I have it. So if you ever lose it, I've got it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I need to get it so I could actually put it on like my current iTunes, so I never lose it. But it's that whole album and that experience. It's actually something like, I don't know the information for that Bandcamp, and it's probably lost in time.
It's either on Bandcamp or it's on Reverb Nation. I guarantee you
it's probably on Reverb.
I bet, man, because it was during that time before Bandcamp was even really a thing.
Yeah, dude, that weird stage in between Pure Volume and Bandcamp.
yeah, Pure Volume. Oh my God. I discovered so many horrible Christian bands because of Pure Volume. Demon Hunter, fucking Extol, like all these random Christian bands at the time, because it was that time frame in my life.
Yeah, dude, I feel you a bit, but yeah, I remember looking up like just like the corniest fucking bands, like this death metal band Dath, and like
I remember Dath, yeah,
like shit like that, like, and it became a breeding ground for like real like scene. Just cringe, you know, like
I have some cringe to send you.
Just music that does just music that, like, I think a good portion of music like from that time period can still hold up, but like there's some that's just like it like you can see where we've come. Like you can see where we've come from, like, or where we've come, how we've come to like kind of sort of trends of current music, and I think screamo and emo and like that sort of scene music has like kind of continued to have a place, but like some of it is just bad from back then that it's just like, ugh. Like,
well, it's almost, I consider it like topical music, you know, like it's topical comedy. It's relevant for now. It's all about right now, man. But
absolutely,
there's a point where that topicalness or whatever transcends itself and then can be transportive or nostalgic in the future because it's like a voice of that thing.
Yeah.
But I think that earlier in my life, I definitely shit on stuff like that because I couldn't see the end result of that. I could only see like, no, man, I'm underground. I'm not topical. I'm making something that's going to last forever. It's like, how? Okay, I'm going to say it. Lil Nas X.
Huh?
Country Roads or whatever, the Old Town Road, whatever the fuck that's, Old Country Road, whatever the hell that song is called, is a topical fucking song.
Oh yeah.
That is going to be transcendent to the point where people are going to want to relive that point in like 10 years. They're going, do you remember when that guy fucked up the CMAs and all that shit? But then he goes on to write timeless music.
Do you remember when that guy fucked up the CMAs? CMAs? Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, that young gay black kid, like, fuck you. Like, that's dope as shit.
But no, you're right. You're right though. I think you're right though. Like it's like, you know, it's something we see all the time. I love, you know, I live in nostalgia sometimes. Like I feel like,
I listen to NSYNC, bro.
Yeah.
I will throw down on some old school Justin Timberlake for sure.
There's a reason why, you know, Steele's Kiss from a Rose is so fucking, it's equally funny, but you also do want to hear it. You know, you're like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, there's a band called and shout out to Brian Bailey for showing me this band. They're an old hardcore British band called, and not old, that'd be an insult, or mid 2000s. They're called And You and I, or like ampersand you ampersand I, and they do a cover of Kiss from a Rose, like heavy, and it's really good because it's not they take the original song and just make it heavy as opposed to like making it like a black metal song or making it something entirely different. They stay true to the structure and the dynamics. They just go hard when they do it. I'll send it to you. It's so fucking good.
Please do. That's been like one song that I feel like I've always wanted to cover. Just because it's just so large, dude.
The challenge.
That song is just epic.
That is a
nature.
mountain.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I like getting back to like Simon the Leopard, man. Like we you mentioned earlier that we recorded that first album, or well, we wrote that first album in Troy's garage. But
the smallest room I've ever played music.
I was just gonna say that is being generous for like the actual space that we had.
I think I stood in the garage. I think I was standing in the doorway.
I remember it was Troy's drum set was, I mean, it was a perfect drum room for practicing the drums, but it was like, it was basically like pushed against, you know, the right side wall for as far as it could go back for him. There was like a little station right in front that had like a shitty keyboard and like
amp.
Yeah, and then your amp was pointing inward from the like it was like against the door frame pointing inward, and you either would sometimes like cram in and stand in front of it or have to stand outside of it and behind it and like practice right outside the door.
Can't even see my drummer.
Yeah. And then goddamn, dude. And then like on hot days or whatever, when we could, I remember we'd open up the back door, but there wasn't room to like do anything really, so you just like it would just be open, just like open space. It was
just more hot air coming in.
It was like no joke, and I still like, I think this all the time, like I've always worked with people like that are far above my caliber in terms of like musicianship, and you and Troy have both been examples of that. And like the fact that we were able to like produce an album that I think
10 songs
and songs that stand up.
I think War is Mine. War is Mine is, I think, one of my favorites. No Longer Welcome is definitely going to be a song I listen to forever, just for like, it's like writing a diary or a journal, you know? I have a journal that I can go back through and like read where I was at that time. And if you're going to call me egocentric or a megalomaniac for reading my journal, that's fine. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to go back I'm gonna go back and listen to my shit, especially when it includes other people that I'm around, like you and Troy, people that I'm extremely interested in and attached to because of this medium. Like I will listen to No Longer Welcome for a long time. I like the guitar work. I like everything that Greg did on bass. That cut we did with Dana was pretty decent.
It was cool. I feel like
I don't want to shit talk.
No, I feel like it could have.
It was rushed.
It was rushed. That was exactly what I was just thinking. I feel like we just didn't like practice it out enough and like think it out enough. But but you know, like that was part of why I thought it was fun to do, was because it was like, in the moment, it was like, I don't know. I feel like we haven't worked with somebody that actually can sing.
But like, even working with Greg at all, like we had room to experiment and room to grow. Like he was always thinking about different mic placements or thinking about different guitars.
Greg,
I remember
he's a hell of a fucking engineer and producer. Like
speaking to the quality of Troy and to Greg, because Greg is a master at his craft and it wastes no time in getting work done. His jaw dropped to the floor when Troy went up to record because of how light he was hitting. And if you know what a noise gate is an effect that you put on a track that stops excess noise at a certain decibel. And when you mic up a drum kit, you have to gate or put gates on all of these mics to stop bleed through from other instruments. And usually the number one thing you have to gate is the kick, because the mic is so sensitive to the frequency range. And so he was freaking out that he didn't even have to put a gate on the kick drum. And he was afraid that nobody was going to believe him. But if you are one of our friends and somehow have this record and listen to it, Troy doesn't have a gate on his fucking kick drum.
It's insane, man. Like he not only is like a fucking human metronome, that man, but he like you're saying, like he has like the most precise touch when it comes to like how he's hitting his cymbals, his kick, his fucking snare, like everything, man, everything.
Not a hit out of place, time, or like hardness. He never hits anything too hard unless he needs to.
No.
It's precise. He's a precise motherfucker.
Something I clearly didn't learn as a drummer from Troy.
There's different styles of drumming and different people have different powers. Emotion is something that Troy can capture, but I think in relativity, he's more there for the backbone. I think what you and Rex are really good at is like going balls to the wall, full force. Here's all my energy. Fuck you. Yeah. You know, it's a different style of drumming. It's punk rock versus classic rock.
Absolutely.
Even though classic rock sucks, Troy's a prog rock drummer. He's like King Crimson's shit.
Yeah, he's a prog rock. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, and then that iteration, I mean, I don't even know if you picked up drums. There was just a drum set where we were hanging out, and I had my amp and guitar in the closet or in the garage, and we just started jamming one night. I think is how it went down, because we were living in an apartment.
Yeah,
yeah. The next project after Simon.
Yeah, after the first Simon album, we basically, you know, we relocated and met up over in Olympia.
Before we did that though, we got James on bass. Remember, we played like 2 gigs with him on bass.
That's right.
We used to practice in his living room, or at least we did a handful of times.
And we used to practice at that warehouse, like a weird crumbling warehouse space that like Troy's dad worked next to.
Yep.
Like
in an office that was literally trash.
Yeah. And like that was actually really interesting, because at that point, fucking McLaughlin he had just been doing nothing but his own stuff. It was like really beautiful guitar, singer-songwriter stuff.
Yeah, he was for some reason interested in our bullshit, which
is so shocking to me.
Yeah, I feel like it was like he was trying to help us out. Like, oh, you guys are so bad. Here's let me help you out.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think he genuinely didn't.
We started writing good songs. We started writing really good songs at the end of that.
I think he was interested in what we were doing. I think he was also just like, I don't know. I don't think he had ever participated in sort of like a band. And I think that was like a new experience for him as a musician.
I think he was in a band with Zach Rogers, which is how that connection came to be. I think maybe not with Zach, but he was the lead singer of some punk band for like a show.
Huh.
It wasn't anything big or monumental, but I really do think that he was something for somebody. I really can't remember what it is.
Might have fronted. I mean, he probably did. Like that was kind of his thing. Like he was a front man. Still is. He did mostly his own work, and then he basically kind of like every now and then had this other project going, it seemed like. Yeah.
Well, his classic stuff. I remember the first time seeing him on stage. Like, we had been hanging out. I'd met him for the first time at Cafe Mela. We were drinking coffee. Zach introduced me to him. And then he's like, his name comes up for the open mic. And he like bursts out on stage and just starts screaming in an accent. Hello, my name is Klaus.
Yeah, dude, he was Klaus.
Like, loud, super fucking loud into the mic. And then he would just go straight into like Born Ruffians.
Yeah.
Like
dude,
that. That shit.
To this day, that like his cover of that song is just like in my head. You know what I mean? Like,
he fucked me on a Cat Power song, which is funny because it's a cover of a cover. They do Moonshiner. I hadn't texted this motherfucker in 7 years, and I texted his ass. I was like, "What? Tell me the name of that Cat Power song you covered that one time." And he was like, "It's Moonshiner. It's a cover of a. It's not Neil Young. Fuck. It's Bob Dylan. It's a Bob Dylan cover, which totally fits for fucking Klaus because he loves Bob Dylan."
Fair enough.
And so he wrecked that song for me because I went back and listened to the Cat Power song and I was like, bro, this is not what James screamed at me that one night at all.
I want that.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about Seal's Kiss from a Rose.
Yo. Have you, I mean, like, God, dude, I feel like I haven't interacted with James in so fucking long.
Oh no, not for a while. Not since I lived in Olympia.
Yeah. I feel like I know he's working on some sort of new music project though, because
I had no idea. I've just seen his recent social media posts that have been very Jesus and God centric.
Yeah, he's definitely gone down a religious rabbit hole. I think,
get it, bro. It's so funny because it's the exact. I mean, people crave dynamics. The grass is always greener, right? You spend your life on one side of the lawn, which he did. Let's try the other side of the lawn, which now he's doing. Fuck it, everybody does it.
You know, like everybody's got their own fucking life, I guess. But I guess, but you know, like I'm interested to see. I donated money to his music project because I wanted him to do it because it's like, you know, I think I don't know. So the way I understand it is he's trying to reinterpret Christian poems and songs and stuff like that or something, right? I'm not too genuinely fond of that fucking idea in general, but
it'll do something good.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's because I think I remember him as just being like, you know, having just such like talented musician, like just being such a talented musician, and like having, you know, sort of been like self-taught in his guitar and whatnot. It just seemed, you know, his
guitar playing is still upsetting to this day. No matter how many years I've been playing flamenco guitar or flamenco style guitar, nylon string guitar, period. I can never get to the level that he was at when he was in his early to mid 20s. He's got an understanding of rhythm that I just don't have.
Well, and I think, you know, he brought like a certain sort of gruff sort of punkness to his, like some of his vocal work that he paired with that, as well as
this beautiful classic guitar,
as well as these like lyrics that just like, I don't know. I think I'll say mysterious.
The lyrics are great.
And very, very well written. And like he just, I don't know. I'm just interested to see where his musical talent lies now. I suppose less of the content. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Like,
it's like
I don't give a shit about the idea behind the album, but if the guitar work is good, like that, I'm glad to know that he still has his chops, you know?
Right. Forgive my references for not being accurate, but it's like checking out newer Jack Kirby stuff just for the illustrations, as opposed to looking at the old Jack Kirby stuff where it's you're looking at it because the story is good too. I have no idea if what I just said was good or not.
Jack Kirby's long dead, but the idea is there.
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. And it
You
is
just want to see how it's doing.
exactly. And you know, like I think that's
I'm that
honestly
way with bands all the time. It's fortunate that you have a friend that you can be that way with.
yeah. It's
Like I will always listen to. I'm gonna say it. I will always listen to a Korn record. I'm not gonna re-listen to every Korn record, but because they were such a huge part of my childhood, I'll give it a listen. And I'll say that for other Christian bands that were a part of my childhood too. I will listen to a new record by them. But
no, I feel you, dude. I you know, for whatever reason I originally got into them, I, you know, really dug CKY back in the day. And,
sure.
And I just like I've been listening to Infiltrate, Destroy, and Rebuild again lately, and it's just like it hits still for you know, and it's probably part nostalgia. It's probably still that I like the music, you know, it's like a combination of things. But yeah, like I'll still fucking listen to some of that shit. I have a coworker who constantly talks about Korn. Like he is
I'm not that guy.
I know. Well, no. He's not like, you know, Korn, like banging Korn and like, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
He just talks about it in this like retrospective sort of way where it's like, you know, like when I was younger, I was really into Korn, and then he drops like random Korn facts on me. You know what I mean?
like you should be like that too, bro.
Yeah, but I feel like there's just like a whole like period of music that I personally just missed out on. And I think that was because like when I was a kid in my youth, I was in such a fucking hole. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? And so like the world around me was like, you know, like new metal pops off and I didn't listen to a drop of it until like it was no longer cool. You know what I mean?
It's all garbage. It's all garbage.
But you experienced it a little bit while it was cool though. You know what I mean? And like, that's
sorta.
But it's like,
I mean, yeah, no, I did.
And so it's interesting because there's for me, particularly in music, there's just like tons of bands and musicians that like I have like, you know, familiarity with like in a way, but it's like I just like, even though I went through that era, like I'm that age, you know, I just completely fucking missed it. Like, you know,
I was talking to Jasper the other day about how.
Dude, how's Jasper doing, man?
Jasper's great. His parents are selling their house, but he lives on a house that's on the property, and the new owners are like, yeah, you can totally live there, no big deal. So like, Jasper's living good right now. Natalie's got a job, a good job, and Jasper is still looking. He was working at our farm for a while, and then he quit because they thought that they had to move out because the house was going to sell. Oh. So he was looking for a job, couldn't find anything, and then they found out that they could stay there with the same amount of rent. So I don't know if he's in a rush to get a job right now or not. He's just kind of gaining weight. Yeah, doing his thing.
Well, either way, give him my best next time you see him, man.
Oh, I will. He and Emmett spent a lot of time together, goddamn. So I was just talking to him the other day about how bands you lump in together because of the time period you experience them in, not because of the genres that they are associated with. Yeah. And like I brought up like Tool and Creed. Tool and Creed are the same band. And I know a lot of people, a lot of people are going to be upset with that.
The controversial statement, but so I support it.
I'm really serious about that shit. They are the same band because I was introduced to them in the same time period in my youth. And I really don't, to this day, see much of a difference. I get that, like, the guitars are played different, or like Tool does a bunch of time signature changes and Creed just does 4/4 all the time. Like, I don't give a shit about that. The overall essence, the feeling, the vibes of both of those bands are all the way Can You Take Me Higher and Nothing But. And Jasper shot back like Green Day and Metallica for him are the same band because they were introduced to him at the same time period. He thinks Green Day and Metallica, Whoa. I think everybody could have. I think everybody does have those bands. They just don't really think about it because you let your mind like encyclopedia everything to where it's supposed to go. You have what is that? The Dewey Decimal System. Your brain's Dewey Decimal System shit.
Just files it.
Right, but if you can
organizes it,
you can get through that, then like Yeah, dude, Metallica and Green Day for sure. I can see that.
Oh man, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I can't remember if I've said it before to you or not, but I feel like I just experienced so much music in retrospect, and like,
that's sometimes the best way to do it because you have full context. You have but at the same time,
but you miss out on certain things like you're just talking about like that essence, which it seems silly, but at the same time, it's like a really pivotal part of the experience of experiencing band and music and like any sort of form of art. Really, like it's like the energy behind it in a way.
It's a fucking pay-per-view fight these days. Like, if you don't buy that pay-per-view movie or fight or whatever the day it's going to happen and watch it, what are you going to talk about with all the boys at work on Monday? Like, you are paying to be relevant. That's what those collective experiences, where waiting for your favorite band's new album to drop with 100 million other people who are also waiting for it. That's what you're paying for, is that collective experience, as opposed to going on YouTube and looking up the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight now, where it doesn't fucking matter. Like, who cares? Everybody knows what happened before, during, and after. So it does take away that like I'm relevant right now feeling, but I don't think that it gives you any less. It is less of a feeling. It is 100% less of a feeling.
Well,
because I think there's a spark when you're in a community and they're all collectively like waiting for that shit. It's a different feeling. Yeah. But I still love Tears for Fears. I think they're a fucking great band.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was just thinking about my two bands, by the way. And this is like the most random one. Good Charlotte and Blink-182 would be the two I'd put together.
For sure. I don't even have to fight on that. Like, yeah, I accept that wholly as logic. I would consider that common knowledge.
And that's purely that's like literally, well, yeah, that's probably true. But
no, I mean, it's not common knowledge. I wish it was. No, there are people that will tell you that those are two completely different bands and this is why. But like, in reality, vibes and all, bro, that's the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's a wave.
Yeah. And that's like, and thinking about it, it's mostly, like experience lumps them together. And then like the vibe of the band, just like, you think about it and it just sort of like, it's one and the same, it feels like.
Fucking A. I mean, one of them's pop punk, the other one's punk pop. I mean, I don't even know. When people call Blink-182 punk, like, it hurts. It hurts on the inside.
They're not punk, man.
I know, but people say that shit about Green Day too. They're punk rock. Like, they were played on the radio. They're not punk rock.
Dude, yeah. I feel like it's the case with like any groups that get commercially successful. I feel like once you get any sort of commercial success, you lose that sort of underground element, right? And so you're no longer a fucking punk like going against the system. You're a part of that system, right? Like, you're no longer. I mean, I think in a way, you can
infiltrate from within. Yeah. Well, and even then, nowadays, I think it's different because you don't need a record label to back you. Your fans directly back you through like PayPal or Venmo or fucking Patreon, or just buying your record or whatever. Like, nobody does record sales anymore. They all do streams. And then on top of that, you're only making money off merch. And if you're your own entity, I own my merch and people are going to buy it because they want to be a part of my collective. And so they're really, you don't need to sell out. All you need to do is sell to your fans.
Yeah. And well, that's the great point that like, I think, we've hit in terms of like the combination of like technology and creative individuals and whatever. There's an easier access than there ever has been before, which simultaneously makes streams like worthless, but also raises the value of that sort of that essence of the project, that energy of the project. And so that's why we're seeing this resurgence, I think, in like personalities, man. Like, it's no longer just like a great album's popping off. We're seeing like this eccentric personality fronting that album.
Oh, for sure. And I think
actually Lil Nas X is a great example of that.
Yeah, like, so is Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, I don't ever know. I swear to this day, I think like I've caught maybe one track that cat has ever put out, and I don't know. Like, I would recommend it. it was just one of those things. Like I feel like I missed the initial vibe on him, and then it was just sort of like, you know, you have to fight through all the
bullshit,
almost like bullshit that gets put out there just to like get to the music again. So
no,
I'll take that recommendation though. This is a good reminder to just like give shit a shot again. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and I can send you some stuff. He has a good song with Nicki Minaj called Fifi, F-I-F-I. And it's decent. You have to like.
I guarantee you, I bet Nadine's heard it.
Oh yeah, it probably is played at Trader Joe's, man. Like I guarantee you. it's the perfect song.
That's the level of approval I want radio to get to eventually. You know? Can this be played at Trader Joe's? No, but it can at Trader Jose's, motherfucker.
Did you hear about all that shit that they had to do? They had to take off all their racist names from all their packaging.
I did. I caught a little bit of that. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, for what it's worth, like, not even getting into the race issue of it, I just always thought it was strange that they had like sub labels. Like there's like like Safeway has like Safeway Select or whatever, right? That's like the one ubiquitous like Safeway label.
Fuck yeah.
But so that was my main thing with it. I was just like, okay, so everything's just gonna be Trader Joe's now.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, that was
like,
they wanted to be, not wanted to, but they've been like personality. They're quirky. They're fun. Yeah. Like I can imagine the girl. I'm not trying to be sexist or whatever, but like I imagine the girl that came up that day to the board meeting. It was just like, oh my gosh, guys, I have the best idea. What if we take all of our, ethnic food and put them underneath a Trader Joe derivative name, and then it'll be cute and quirky. And management was like, fuck yes, stamp of approval immediately. No racism even thought of.
I think it was mostly meant to pay like a nod to the different cultures in a way.
It's not like you're getting Trader Yusuf's on like fucking swastika shaped pita bread or anything. It's not tongue-in-cheek shit. You're getting curry and it's from Trader Ming's. Like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I don't know. Like, it was a strange move to silence, I guess. It was, you know what I mean? Like, it was like a weird thing to hone in on. I guess in this day and age where like anybody can be upset about anything, it sort of makes sense that it happened, but I don't know. Like, I mean, like I said, like I feel like it was just like, I don't know, at the moment in time, what the fuck ever. They should just embrace just one label, I guess.
I mean, sure, that's kind of
seems to be simpler,
oppressive, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess. Forcing everything to be under one banner.
Interesting. Sounds like a communism to me. Fucking Bill Hicks warned of this time where he couldn't even make a joke because people would get offended about everything, and that comedians are going to die out because they'll have nothing to make fun of, which I don't think is true. I don't think he had to be controversial to be funny. Look at Ernest, all the Ernest movies. Not a single one of them are controversial, yet they're all perfect. Ernest Scared Stupid. Fucking Ernest Goes to Camp. Ernest Scared Stupid. Ernest Goes to Jail. Ernest,
I ain't gonna argue with you there, man. I love a good Ernest movie.
They're so pure. It's like watching Bob Ross or fucking what's that asshole? Mr. Rogers. Yeah. That one. It's just pure.
That's what I'm saying, man. But you're right. I don't think comedy's gonna die. I think comedy
evolved.
Comedy has always like evolved with it, because I mean, it's always been cultural commentary, and there's always going to be a need for that. You know what I mean?
Well, like, it goes back to that topical though. Like, you can watch legendary comedians like Eddie Murphy or Mitch Hedberg, like these guys that are Dave Chappelle, even, that just create topical stuff that is timeless. Like it doesn't even create that sense of nostalgia. It creates a sense of like when you read about Martin Luther King and doing marches or whatever, like standing up for something, or like Bad Sam Kinison, like these guys that are making extreme political statements but are doing them in such hilarious ways that are making those jokes last way longer then because they're doing the root of the problem, and the root of the problem is always going to be there. They're not making fun of the people that are subjects, like they're not making fun of the people on the outside of it. They're making fun of the root core of it. And I think that's the genius, and that's the shit you have to steal. Is you can't make fun of the people on the outside. You have to make fun of why it happens, the systemic part of it, and then it becomes timeless because it's systemic. That shit will always be around. You can't blame the president for that shit. You have to blame everything.
Well, yeah, I feel you there. That's actually a really good point, man. I don't know. And like, that's actually one of the things I really want to start investing a little more time in coming into the future. Cause like, I feel like lately, probably like the last 6 months and so, like, I feel like I've started to like get a little bit more invested in like comedy, you know, again, like, it's like I go through these phases with it where I get really hyper interested in it. But like, you know, I really want to like go enjoy a set. I've never gone to see a comedy show.
Me either, man. I mean? But fuck, I've watched a lot of it online. Yeah,
but I would really like to enjoy, like experience that in person, because I feel like, you know, there's certain raw elements to like a set, and this is what you hear from comedians doing like interviews and stuff. Sometimes it's like, you know, when things don't go as planned, and like they riff and stuff like that, and it's like, I feel like those are great moments, and like it seems like a really interesting amount of pressure to put on a single person standing on stage in front of however many, you know what I mean? Right.
Well, I think
and all they're doing is talking. You know, they're talking and then well, I mean, they're doing more than that. That I don't mean to debase like the form or anything. You know what I mean? But it's a person and a mic. You know,
Jimmy Carr once said that there's something wrong with comedians. I don't think Jimmy Carr said this. I think he was quoting somebody else. He's like, there's something wrong with comedians because they're the only person in a room filled with people all seated one way, facing the other direction. And he also goes on to say that laughter is key because much like in nature, throughout evolution, when we have a major discovery, that aha moment is very kindred to the ha-ha moment that we experience when we laugh. It's almost neurologically similar. And so in my mind, I would approach comedy from a standpoint of relatability towards humanity as opposed to a topical subject, but in that there are topical subjects that you can, you know, overtake or like intertwine with that shit. There are a lot of comedians that I have been studying. Daniel Sloss is one of them. He has several HBO specials or Netflix specials. He's attributed to, and I do not remember the statistics, but it is well into the over 100s, where he is responsible for relationship breakups and divorces because of a bit that he did in one of his comedy specials. A bit about love. It's like a 10-minute bit. It's not on YouTube. You cannot find it. And if you can, send it to me because I can't fucking find it. You have to watch it in his special. And it is, it's a destructive bit that will make you laugh the whole time. And at the end of it, you're confronted by existentialism and you're just like, you're just stuck. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do. Like that kind of shit interests me. I really do enjoy, just for fun. Like, I just had his name. I just watched him this morning. Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson.
Oh yeah, Rowan. Yeah. Well, yeah. There's different levels to comedy, right? There's you know, there's the superficial comedy. There's like, you know, there's physical comedy. There's you know, then there's shit like you're talking about where it's like it gets you laughing through the entire, you know, joke, and then what really
the concept hits you.
What really happens is like you find out the concept and you like all of a sudden see the root that he was, you know, and you're just like,
fuck.
And it makes you think. But that's what's fucking brilliant is that people, I think, too often think that comedy is only there to make you laugh, and it's not
entertainment.
And people think of entertainment as such a vapid fucking thing these days. Yeah, and it's like. I don't know. It's that people forget that this form and the thing that they just laughed at is really like something to take away, you know, or like, and I think the same can be translated to music in a way too, where it's like
100%,
you know, like a song with the most bare bones fucking production, maybe like the easiest seeming guitar part can, have an impact, and it can have a different impact for, than what you would expect. And same thing with like a complicated like fucking prog rock song, like what I mean, like things will get, I don't know, it's just like things, I don't know, it's just an interesting dynamic to think that like people, I really don't think appreciate the level that musicians and artists and comedians and people of creative natures put into the details of the work that they present.
And how effortlessly they seem to do it, because it seems to just come so naturally that it must be born from who they are. Yeah. And then to try and achieve that type of status or try to achieve that type of existence just seems so far away at all times. Like, they're so much cooler, they're so much better. There's no way that I will ever get into that state of mind or thought process. It's so difficult to defeat like interpersonal demons or self-doubt or like bullshit that will always weigh you down to get over those things, because they're literally just normal people. They're just as fucked up as you are. It's just that everybody gets to see it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I feel like a fairly common trait has to be that, like good, bad, or other, like you're like the person in the position of captivating and entertaining in another person has to be just willing to expose like this, that, and the other thing, and be willing to, and be like not willing but be indifferent at times to the reaction that people have to it. Does that make sense? Where it's like you have to be able to walk up and drop something and just be like, now you guys have to figure out how to take it or what to do with that. Like, yeah, I don't even know my part. Like,
okay. So here's an on topic but off topic question. Who's better, Enya or R. Kelly?
It's a debatable question.
I think so.
not in terms of like personality. I'd say personality goes one way or another, but well, it's Enya.
I mean, you want to say Enya. Your immediate thought is like, but Enya never had a sex cult, right? That's your immediate thought. But there's this stupid thing where people want you to separate the art from the artist, and in my mind, R. Kelly is fire when it comes to writing music, even though he can't sing. Well, trapped in the closet fucking hits.
Well, I guess
as dumb as that shit is.
That's my hang up is that like,
oh, he had a sex cult.
Well, it's not that. It's that's what I mean. Where it's like, you have to separate personality in that kind of situation where it's like,
I don't want to do that.
Like, well, I don't. Well, that's what I'm saying is like, you have to look at R. Kelly and say like he has his sex cult shit, but like if you just like if you just listen to Remix to Ignition. Well, I guess what I'm saying is if you Part two. You're like literally, if you're going there to analyze his music, you can't do that by analyzing the personality. Yeah, I don't think I'm a music analyzer. Well, that I mean, like that. What I'm saying is like, I don't know. I guess I just don't. I think it's all right to try to separate the persona and the person from the work. You know what I mean? Right. I think it's safe to do within a logic standpoint where I'm not basing my opinion of that person. I'm judging the character of their music. Yep. But if it comes to like, how do you feel about R. Kelly? I will have to say like, oh, his music or him as a person. Well, because if it's music, that's part of the, I mean, in particular circumstances like this, I think that's part of the unfortunate fallout of like in terms of like the legacy of the music and the person, where it's like now forevermore, like because of the way culture seems to be like some aspects of culture seem to be shifting, it's now forevermore, instead of asking that simple question of why, like, do you like R. Kelly? It's like, do you like R. Kelly's music? or do like do you like R. Kelly? Like you have to like separate those things, or you have to take the time to separate those things.
Right. Who has that time? We don't even have time to create
and that's kind of
videos for this podcast. We don't got time for that shit.
All right, God damn it. You know what? I'm gonna make a fucking video out of some of this podcast.
We don't got time.
No, I'm gonna do it just because of this. It'll probably not happen for another like 20 podcasts afterwards.
6 months.
But I swear to God, there will be a clip from this podcast, and it might be this one.
What were we talking about before all this bullet? We were on Simon the Leper, and then we got sidetracked so hard.
Talk about oh, it's magic. You know.
Who sings that song? Is that REO?
I want to say yes.
Oh, it's magic.
I have always been really unfortunately bad with like.
Oh God, I'm Rain Man with that shit. I can look at a deck of cards and tell you every band that's in there. I swear to God, it's stupid. It's the only talent I have.
I think that the episode I did with Caleb, I think McGrady actually called you in like a music encyclopedia or something like that. So, at one point.
Sweet baby. He and a few other people have made it a thing where they send me bands to try and like, but you didn't know them, and then I'll send them back my favorite song by them.
Like, I bet you I fucking do.
Yeah, I had a guy, a friend Josh, who's just a doll. He was like, "Oh man, I got one you never heard of, Jungle Pussy," and I was like, "Yeah, I love her song Trader Joe's," and he was like, fuck. Like he just ate his own dick right there. It was fucking hilarious. And then I played him the music video because he had never seen it, and the music video is fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I've shown it to you. I know I have, but I'll send
Jungle
it again.
Pussy. I mean,
it's a good one.
As soon as you said Jungle Pussy, it sounded familiar. So.
Yeah, no, she's been a love of mine for a while. Have you been listening to any new music or spinning anything? I sent you that Blood Culture shit, and I'm on that stuff hard.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say I picked that up. It's really fucking good.
Their other records are really good too, just so you know.
Yeah, I need to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, Luno, they have a record that just dropped like 3 weeks ago, and it is fucking fire.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, I mean, you know me better than just about anybody in the fucking world, but you know that I get so holed up in music that it's like somebody has to like drag me out of my music hole with like new shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Stuff that doesn't suck. I'm familiar.
I have tastes. They're just
a lot of music.
They're just not good tastes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to like. I've been trying to do a weekly playlist for like old heart. I just like put up like I just do like a really basic ass like seven songs for one per day basically. And that's actually something I've been struggling with, is that like I've been putting weird collections of like a lot of my like particularly like go-to kind of tracks with some of the artists and whatnot, but I've been noticing that it's just, again, it's all like retrospective. It's not like anything like super current. Fresh. I mean, like current to an extent, but like I want, like, I don't, it's not some stuff that's like fresh, you know what I mean? And like that's where I've always dropped the ball. I feel like I've never kept, like I never have kept up in like the present with music.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so like when I've been doing these playlists, I've been noticing that really hard. And that's why when you sent me that, I started banging that, and I was like, okay. Like, yeah, I need to add one of these tracks, and then I was like, okay, and this is it. Like, I need to start making sure I take the time to plug in new stuff, at least into like for the purpose of this, a couple of tracks, and then slowly but surely, I feel like that'll probably take over the majority of the tracks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's rare that I don't find at least one new song a day. Like I will find usually upwards of 5 or 6. If I don't find one, then it's a dry day. But we listen to music all day. I control I don't control. I manage a room full of people, and so I control the music. And so I'm constantly subjecting them to torture and new stuff, and like whether it's heavy metal or whether it's like Latin music or it's some weird Brazilian jazz or whether it's straight up death or black metal, like we're always listening to something that's new and definitely something that is different genres. Like I found a country band I'm in love with. Like I there's no end to good music. You just have to be ever vigilant.
I like that. That should be on a t-shirt somewhere.
Yeah.
There's no end to good music. In the back, you have to be ever vigilant.
It's fucking true, man. The shit drops every day. Every day something's coming out. And you just have to somehow, I know I'm missing a bunch of shit and a lot of it's going to get sent to me or set up in the next few years on YouTube or whatever the fuck, and I'll be able to find it. But I do experience a lot of shit through just trying new bands and new radio stations all the time.
Yeah.
Blood Cultures was huge.
That's what
they've given me. No, for sure. Keep doing it. Don't stop.
Can't stop. Won't stop.
No, if you find a new band that you like, pick their favorite song on Spotify or your favorite song on Spotify by them, and then just click the play radio button, and you'll find a million bands immediately. And that's usually how I found my shit, or through the lucky algorithm of YouTube, which is super fucking rare and dry. They just want to show you memes and stupid tutorial videos. Yeah,
YouTube's a harder beast to tackle, but Spotify actually, like, I feel like whatever their algorithm is, it's been getting a little better. And I think because for a really long time, I felt like it even on the radios that you'd pop up, it just pull up
same songs,
really familiar shit. And so I've noticed lately that it's like, at least for mine, it seems to be like pulling up, like a wider spread,
No, agreed. I think as the community of Spotify is growing and more bands are getting linked to more people, and I believe that the playlists are user updated, like the radio stations and stuff like that. So like I'll click on the same radio station twice and the songs will be different. I mean, they'll be the same similar songs, but in different order. But
sometimes they're like shifted a bit or whatever, and like
shit like that. Like I've noticed I'm getting a lot of new bands that I wasn't before, and a lot more current stuff too.
Well, and I've also found that it's interesting to experience it. I mean, I suppose that's sort of the effect of the radio, right? Where it's like you don't get it necessarily if you just like click it on and you let it play, you don't necessarily get the choice of like what's popping up next. You just have to deal with it, and you have to assume that the person that's put this together, or in this case the algorithm or whatever that's put it together, has like that similar taste and intention in mind. But it's also like something you just have to like embrace, right? You just have to be like, all right, well, this is the next jam, like and you don't hear it in the context of like an album. You don't hear it in the context of like what that artist necessarily like presents it as. It's just like thrown in the mix. And I think sometimes it's a really great way of hearing music, because it makes you like, it's almost like do or die. Like, do I like this jam? Like, do I like this track? Do I want to pursue more? Like, or do I just move on?
It's a lot more than Pandora ever was. I feel like Pandora was a trash box, but I mean,
Pandora's a hunk of shit. It regurgitates the same fucking like hits, and then it regurgitates the live versions of them, then like the acoustic versions of them, and then the covers. I was never a fan of Pandora. Spotify's definitely been a mainstay in my house for the last at least 5 years, probably 6 years, even. It's sort of solidified a huge place in terms of like what the music industry is, it seems like now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why it's a good platform to have, I suppose. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is at this point. It's like if a YouTube competitor pops up, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like, okay, that'll be there until it's not.
Exactly. I mean, that's how people felt about Facebook, and then Facebook and MySpace, and then bye MySpace.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the exception though has kind of been SoundCloud in that way, where I feel like
that's gained popularity because of the shit that people pull off of it. I mean, I don't even have to talk about what Post Malone.
Yeah,
Like that guy blew up. I mean, I think even Lil Nas X blew off of SoundCloud.
I believe so. But that's what I mean. It's like, you know, that's carved. It's like, it's, you know, sort of chunk out of like what's happening in current music too, which is like extreme all over the place, like independent artistry, and it's fucking awesome in a way, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, it's a hodgepodge of shit sometimes, and sometimes it's a hodgepodge of really good stuff, but like but nonetheless it's a huge like grouping of just like people like putting their shit out there, you know, and I think that's really really cool, you know, because I mean,
makes an ocean for sure.
It makes an ocean for sure.
It does. It's easy to get lost in that ocean if you're trying to be. I mean, this was a problem like
well, and that's the
10 years ago. Everybody's unique, everybody's different, and now everybody's the same. But for some reason, being unique isn't cool. Being the same is.
It's yeah. I feel
different
like,
dynamic.
Yeah. Well, and that's why it pays to not give a shit about that, I suppose.
Yep.
I don't know. Like that's the thing. I feel like at times I've gotten really hung up in those like those ways where, you know, you get invested into a project, and then I feel like at times I've been like, all right, am I gonna like be like uber like, you know, like serious about this, or am I gonna like make sure that this is like a good outlet that I enjoy having, you know, and like, and if it goes somewhere people like it, if people like, that's cool. But I don't know, it's just like, it's like really easy to get hung up on the opinions that get formed around the stuff you produce and you make. And I think what's interesting about the SoundCloud ocean is that now it's so vast that, you know, the negative like the sort of the negative reactions that people might get, I mean, they sort of get drowned out by the overall like production of work that gets kind of put up there. So it's like, even if it's negative, it's kind of par for the course.
I mean, it's like any attention is good attention, and so as long as they're getting some comments, it doesn't matter. Like, who gives a fuck? They took the time out of their day to comment on this shit that they hated it. That's awesome.
Well, and I guess
like that's a listen right there.
Lil Nas X is again an example of that, right? He's like,
the positive side of that. I mean, Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Well, he also has like found that like the you know, I feel like he personally has built a persona that
so
he
good.
knows he's pushing the limits for a certain portion of at least Americans. We'll say, and I think that's part of the, you know, that does help propel you. It makes people that disagree with that view, with like, you know, that viewpoint, or like that hatred of, you know, his image or whatever, into like, okay, well, now I want to look his name up. Now I'm gonna, you know, you know, and so
I'm gonna find his Instagram or his fucking Twitter. I'm gonna at his ass about how upset I am.
But
that's fame.
That's just, I mean, and that seems awful to me in a way. You know, it's like, I don't like, how do you live constantly wanting to play to people's expectations in that way? You know what I mean? Like, it
100%.
It sucks the joy out of fucking like of creating something, like out of putting energy into something and producing something and making something. I feel like it just doesn't pay off, you know. Bill
Murray said, fucking fame and fortune go hand in hand, but try just the fortune first and see if you like it.
Fair. I mean, but yeah,
I feel like that's pretty good, because
that's
fame
pretty
is
much it doesn't.
That's a beast.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like I don't know. That seems like the spotlight is just obnoxious, and like I was trying to say earlier, I guess it's like I realized like looking back, I've definitely like found times where, you know, I've questioned my like in that way where it's like, do I want to try to play to get like the game of like getting in the spotlight? You know what I mean? And
100%. That's my goal. That's what I want to be, and it's terrifying.
Well, and I mean, but that I think is like partially driven just by like, I don't know, just by like I don't know, the just the way we give attention to these things, and it's like I don't know, it's like I don't know, like I'm conflicted about the attention aspect. Like I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong, hot dogs. Quick side note, hot dogs. I'm not talking about you. It's great that you listen. Continue doing so. All right.
Thank you, hot dogs.
Back to the conversation. But I don't expect any listeners. That's the difference.
Right.
When I log on to check things casually, maybe like once a week, to be frank, like I don't look to see if like, are the numbers up? Have they gone up 69 listens? Have they gone up 175 listens? Have we cracked 1,000 this month? Like I'm not sweating that shit. And what's nice is that like in the meantime, things can organically grow if it's there. And I think what I found particularly with this project is that one is not like sufficient. If you're gonna get into these, you gotta like dig into like the persona and like the whole like energy of Old Heart and like the way it is, where it's just rough as fuck and it's just hodgepodge and it's just gonna be what it is. And if you're into that and you listen to like 3 episodes and you're fine with the sound of my voice, like and whoever I'm talking to, then like you keep slipping into that rabbit hole, man. But like
for me,
I don't know.
Literally, this has been like really hard on me lately, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying you don't go through times like these, but I have been reliving the Chariot lately.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it for a while. I've done it for like 5 or 6 years, probably. Where I've purposely, ever since the last show that you and I went to, purposely have kind of like stayed away, just because of the emotions and shit like that, you know, which is so stupid to say because it's just a band, man.
Well, no,
but
I've legitimately, I think since that show, probably I could say like I feel like I haven't put them on nearly as much. They haven't been in my rotation. I remember a couple instances of actually seeking out a particular album or track, but that was kind of like the limitation of it, you know. And that's really strange to me. That is beautiful. But
I certainly have not listened to a full record.
Yeah, no, neither have I. I really can't say I have. But that's interesting. That's a really interesting point. But you've been revisiting them lately?
Yeah, kind of hard. So I've been watching music videos and live shows and vlogs and interviews.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that I was in love with such a pure group of people that genuinely are upholding the values that we were talking about, where it's, I don't care if anybody's listening. I'm singing a song that might as well be unsung. No one's gonna hear this shit. But here I am doing it anyway because it's the passion that I have.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been a thing that I've tried to hold on to, I guess, my entire life, without necessarily having those words, and definitely not my entire life. But that is something that the Chariot instilled within me, was like a DIY, do it yourself, make it yourself, get it done. No one's gonna give a fuck when you're dead. Just do it now. And that's what I really appreciate about them. And just the fact that Josh, their vocalist, has gone on to form a band called 68, and they are actually kind of making waves now in the rock scene, if not one of the world or America's largest rock bands, since there seem to be so few. I would think they would be considered in the top 10. They're like if Foo Fighters is number 1, 68 is like somewhere around 8 or 9. But they're there.
They are actually. They're a really solid group. Like it's still just a duo. I imagine.
Yep.
It's just it's so solid. But I agree with you there. Like I think after all these years post the Chariot, like, you know, that mindset has kind of been more ingrained in me now more than ever before. Where you know, it's
something to cling on to. It's like a comfort zone almost.
Yeah, where it's like, you know, and they really did, man. They were just like free. They were doing their own thing, you know. it was really a spectacle to behold, like to watch them like hit the
They have
stage.
sons. They have people that sound like them. They influence, and I will say this, and people can take it seriously or not. I watched them go on tour with Protest the Hero, and I watched them go on tour with Every Time I Die. And I watched Every Time I Die, and I watched Protest the Hero after those tours released the two best records of their entire careers. I'm not saying it's because they went on tour with the Chariot, but I will say that Protest the Hero, Blood Meat, and the Chariot, Daggers, have the exact same riff. And they were both released at the exact same time. And Rhodey, the lead singer of Protest the Hero, has a commercial for the album that riff is on. And so therefore, he had to have been okay with it, because I guarantee you he had heard it, so I bet they were stoked on it. And Every Time I Die released fucking Underwater Bimbos from Outer Space just after that tour, which is their hardest song to date, except for they have one harder song than that, and it's called Moor, Moor.
Okay,
I will send it to you. That song is hard as shit,
dude. Underwater Bimbos is hard as shit.
That song is dirty, dude. They're talking about being dead to themselves, bro, because that's what the Chariot was all about. anyway, all I'm saying is, like, nobody's gonna remember the Chariot except for the bands that played with them and their friends and their intermediate fans. But the perspective that those people have are stronger than a subtle influence on 100,000 people where they don't really give a shit and don't really do anything about it except stream the song once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. These people, fans and friends of the Chariot, based their lives off of the things that these people did. It was much more impactful than fucking a Sheryl Crow song. I'm not saying Sheryl Crow's not impactful. I'm just
I'm with you.
It was deeper in the human DNA. I hope, God damn it, than a Sheryl Crow song. Even though I Want to Soak Up the Sun is definitely fucking in a human. That's pina coladas for a new generation.
I mean, I agree with you though. I think the message of what they were, like their mindset and like how, they were presenting their work.
So earnest.
Really, like it kind of set in within their fans. It becomes a deeper, has a deeper resonation.
For sure. They take it to heart.
Yeah.
I took that shit to heart. I was watching. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
You're good. No, you're good. What were you watching?
I was watching a Bus Invaders episode. Are you familiar with the YouTube series Bus Invaders?
No. What's that?
Okay, Bus Invaders was from like 2005 to like 2011, maybe even later. And they would just go to hardcore shows and talk to the bands that were living in vans, and they would have like an MTV Cribs, but with the van.
Oh, okay. Bus Invaders. I'm gonna have to look this shit.
Yeah, Bus Invaders. Okay, I will. Okay, I will send you this. I mean, I won't. I'm not gonna remember any of this shit.
Okay.
I'll have to listen to the episode. Yeah, I will have to listen to this episode and then remember all the shit that I told you I was gonna send you. But the Chariot has a Bus Invaders episode. We went and saw them in El Corazon with Kehlani and Brian Bailey and a few other people. And
Sean
Sanders. I had a letter for them that I had written with do you remember? So I handed it to them while we were walking across crosswalk. Mm-hmm. I'm watching Bus Invaders, and Stevis, is giving the tour of the van, and he gets to his bunk. My letter is taped to the window of the van, and he talks about it. He's like, this is a letter a fan wrote. It's really inspiring.